This is James Brown with Glasgow News 1 and WCOU. I am here today with Barren County Jailer candidate Aaron Shirley. I want to thank you for joining us to talk to us about your candidacy for jailer again this year.
Well, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And you were the incumbent jailer, so some of your answers to our questions or our discussion here will be a little bit maybe more informed because of your involvement with the jail over the 4 years. So, that might be part of the deal here as well. But first of all, the main thing I kind of want to know about the office that people run for is what is the primary role of jailer within Barren County government?
Well, my primary role is, one, to take care of the budget for the jail because they have their own budget. Two is the safety and security of not only the facility but for the public outside of the facility. Our job is to make sure that the inmates are taken care of, until they are either final sentenced and then go on to prison or until they're released.
Now, the jail is a little bit of a different situation in terms of that office because the jail belongs to the county, right?
Correct.
So you're, as an elected official, kind of managing something that somebody else owns.
Correct.
That's got to be a bit of a challenge.
It is, because every dollar that you spend is taxpayer dollars, so that's one of the things that we do is try to look for grants and stuff to help save on that. We have, through some tech grants, we have been able to update some security systems inside the jail. We've been able to, update our kitchen equipment and new washer and dryer, 2 new dryers and 1 new washer, and all that's been done through grant money to where we didn't have to dip into the budget, which is ultimately taxpayers' dollars.
Now, before you ran for jailer the first time around 4 years ago, what was your work experience and life experience that you thought to yourself, that might be a position that I could do well with?
Well, I had owned and co-owned businesses, which I thought helped me on the financial side. I had worked as a court bailiff for here in Barren County. After that, I became a special deputy with the sheriff's office. So I got to see kind of the court side of it. I got to kind of see some of the law enforcement side of it. And then owning businesses and stuff kind of helped me on the budget side of it.
What inspired you to run for the office?
I believed I could make it better than what it was. That was, I thought I could help us financially. And there was some things that I wanted to see implemented that I thought would make it a better facility as a whole.
What were those things?
Well, the biggest things was safety and security. The financial side of it was, we kept having to pay out and pay out and pay out, which, a lot of that is based off of, we get paid off of inmates that comes in. So it's kind of a two-edged sword. You need inmates to make the bills, but you also want to try to help them rehabilitate to go back out in society. The sad reality of it is crime will never stop, so there'll always be somebody there. If crime would stop, there wouldn't be no need for police or jails or anything else. Right. Unfortunately, it's still going to happen, and I wanted to make it a better facility.
Mental health has been a hot topic lately,
Sure
especially
is.
when it comes to crime and the effects that mental health have on crime. Are there programs that you would like to see implemented that you think would be useful as far as dealing with the mental health issues that you might see from inmates?
Well, the sad reality is the mental health as a whole throughout the state, it's broke. We have life skills who we work with regularly. We also have 24-hour mental health evaluators through our medical. I've actually been fortunate enough to be on the board, advisory board for an anchor project out of Bowling Green, which will cover all the Brad region. They've actually got one down in Nashville, Tennessee. I had the opportunity to go down and tour it, which I think will be a great asset to it. But there's not just a snap of the finger fix for it. I wish there was. Back in the late 80s, they shut down most of the mental health hospitals because they was doing things that they shouldn't have been doing. On the flip side of that is we run into a lot that you have somebody with a mental health illness and they had nowhere for them to go, so they leave them in jail.
Right.
But jail's not where they need to be. But we deal with it a lot. They'll get appointed guardians through the state, and they go back and forth through the court systems, and they'll say, well, we want you to find them somewhere to go. And I talk to them quite often, and they'll say, we just don't have anywhere. They won't take this one for this reason, or they won't take that one for that reason. I understand that, but they shouldn't just sit in jail because they have a mental health issue.
Yeah.
But it's not left up to me if they get released or not. That's
Right.
left up to the court system. So we try to give them all the psychiatric meds that we can. A lot of times they'll wind up going to Western State. Western State is a short-term thing. They'll usually get them started on their medication. They'll send them back to us with their recommendation for medication, and we try to start that. The biggest challenge that we have is they'll take their medication for a little while, and then they'll say, oh, well, I'm feeling better.
Right.
Then they want to quit taking their medication, and then you have to kind of try to coax them into taking it to keep them at that level the whole time while trying to find them somewhere to go. And the reality is they don't have the facilities for them.
Mm-hmm.
The same way with this Anchor project, it'll be a 100-bed facility. But it's like I told them when they started it, it will be full before they ever get the first brick laid.
Yeah.
It's a great tool, but it's still not going to be the fix-all to everything either. I work closely with Life Skills, and they do the evaluations on them. And I'm not a medical health professional. I have my opinion on things, but I'm not licensed to do that.
Right.
So I have to go off their recommendations. I don't always agree with their recommendations, but that's what I'm required to do by law.
Right.
So,
can you explain the inmate commissary process to me?
So basically what we have is it's all held there at the facility. Through our food contract, we have a company that furnishes all the commissary. Mm-hmm. So if for some reason something goes out of date or something, it doesn't cost us anything. They just take it back, and they're buying in such large bulk that they can keep the prices cheaper than what I can buy them. We looked at one time about doing it through a local business here in Glasgow, and then we also looked at doing it ourselves. And for us to go and buy the commissary off the shelves at Walmart or the dollar store or whatever, for what we would have to sell it for to be able to make a profit off that to use back for the inmates just wasn't feasible. Mm-hmm. Where they're doing it in such large bulk or ordering semi-loads of stuff, we don't have to worry about spoilage or anything like that. They take all that. So what they do is they're in-house. They actually send out a thing on the kiosk every day. They can go on there at any time from, I think it's 6 a.m. to 10 p.m.
You mean the inmates can?
The inmate can. Yep. They actually have iPads and kiosks in the cells that are designed just for correction. Mm-hmm. And they can go on there, and it has a list of everything that we offer. And they can select what they want. The next day, that order is pulled. It's taken to the cell to where they're at. They just scan their ID card showing that it is them, and they deliver the commissary to them. We don't have to touch anything. Mm-hmm. We furnish them one inmate through the work program to help them, which kind of helps them learn some skills as far as math, as far as what to pull, and then, of course, then they double check the order to make sure it's right. But it kind of helps them out too. And then all that commissary money goes back into the inmates as far as buying lawnmowers and trucks for the inmate crews that go out and pick up trash. That helps pay for anything that they need within the facility that we're not required to furnish by DLC. Mm-hmm. Usually a couple times a year around the holidays, we'll do something special for the inmates, especially around Thanksgiving and Christmas, and that comes out of that same commissary. We carry everything from candy bars to special shampoo, mm-hmm. and they make requests all the time what they'd like to have. And we try to put that on our commissary list if it's within reason.
Yeah. Now, did that program start after you became the jailer, or did it already exist?
They had a commissary program that whenever I came in, they outsourced it. And basically what they done was you turned in your order, and it went to, I think, Louisville at that mm-hmm. time. They pulled it there, and they would just bring it and drop it off. And then we would pass it out. So if there was something in it that was wrong, you had to wait until they came again,
right.
Get that sent back, then wait another week for them to send it back to us, the right order. Well, a lot of times that person may have done got out by that mm-hmm. time. Or they get lost in the transit, having it in-house. If for some reason something's wrong on their order, they just say, give me a minute, and they just walk right back to the holding area where we keep all the commissary, go ahead and fix it right then. So they cut down on a lot of people not getting what they had ordered. So I like having it in-house for that simple reason. Another thing that we do in-house that they can do, we offer it a couple times a week. It's called Fresh Favorites. they can actually order something out of the kitchen, if it be a hamburger and French fries or chicken strips. If they've got money on their account, they can order a meal off that, and they also deliver it to them also.
Yeah.
And with it being in-house, we've also got it set up that if you have a loved one in there and there's certain things that you want them to have, you can actually go online and buy them a care pack and send it to them.
Yeah.
A lot of times there'll be an inmate that doesn't even know that they're getting anything, and surprise, you've got a care pack sent to you from one of your loved ones.
Right.
So I think it kind of helps the morale of them too.
So does the family give into the program? Is that how it? I guess it doesn't have to be family, but it can be anyone.
Anybody can put money on somebody's books, is what
Okay.
we call it. There's 2 or 3 different ways you can do it. We have a kiosk there in the lobby that they can put money in on it. They can also do it from another kiosk in after hours. Like if the lobby is closed, the lobby is open every day from 7 in the morning to usually 7 at night. And then after that, we have what we call after hours, where they can go and pay bonds and stuff. We have another kiosk sitting in there in case somebody wants to put money on their books. And they can also do it online for the simple reason sometimes you'll have somebody that their family may live, a few states away and wants to put money on their books, but can't get there. They can use that online service also.
Okay.
That was something that we added when we came in.
Got you. Those are basically the topics I wanted to cover with the jailer candidates. Is there anything that you want to close with that maybe you think is important to know about being jailer?
Well, another thing that we've really strived with is trying to help with our medical. When we came in, medical was there 7 days a week. Part of those days was just 8-hour days, so we've upped it to 12-hour days. We also have it set up with our medical that once that nurse leaves, we also have a doctor that's on call 24 hours a day. At any time, we can call them and say, here's what we got, what's your recommendation, if they need to go to the hospital or whatever they might need. In with that contract, we also got going back to the mental health, we got the 24-hour helpline. If we have somebody that needs to talk to somebody, we've got somebody they can talk to. They do it basically through a kind of like a telehealth. We don't actually have the person there on site. For one, if I wanted to put somebody on site, what it would cost to pay one of them people would have to come out of our budget, and we run a pretty tight budget as it is. I just got my appropriations yesterday, and we have already spent about 81% of our budget, which we get a new one July 1.
Right.
We should be at about 86% spendage. So we're under that at the moment, but it's like scraping, you're trying to squeeze a nickel out of 2 pennies.
Right.
Because the building itself is also getting older. It's a 16-year-old building, and things are starting to tear up. We just had to replace a hot water heater, and the hot water heater alone, without getting it put in, was $10,000. Well, we've got 9 more hot water heaters, that's 16 years old.
Yeah.
Our HVAC units are starting to give us some trouble. They're 16 years old, run 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. So we try to watch every penny that we can. That way, can't nobody see in the future what's going to tear up next, but we try to prepare for that.
Yeah.
But there's no way to prepare for a $10,000 hot water heater.
Right.
So, these are things that just our day-to-day usage pretty much takes up most of our budget. So we try to save everywhere we can.
Yeah.
So,
got you. Well, I want to thank you for joining us to talk
Thank you
about
for having me.
Your jailer candidacy, even though you're the incumbent.
Yeah.
So we've been here with Aaron Shirley, candidate for the Barren County jailer. Here, the primary is only a few days away now at this point. So we're looking forward to the outcome there. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for having me again. I'd like to humbly ask everybody for their vote if they would. And I took over Christmas Eve, December 22nd, or year 22, the 23rd of December. I took over at midnight and took over as jailer. And when I walked in, we had a lot of challenges that we faced, and I feel that we've come a long ways with it. We're by no means perfect, but we've tried to do it right.
Got you. All right. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. This is James Brown with Glasgow News 1 and WCOU.